So let me ask this, just as a little experiment. I know that here there are a lot of people who have different vocations and backgrounds. So I wonder if we could just shout out what some of the people do here. Kind of curious, and we could just mention what it is that you do for a living, and then that'll be interesting. No one's going to make fun of you or anything. I know there was someone here who's a hairstylist, and what other professions are here in this sanctuary? I know you're an organist. Who else? Any other profession? Any engineers here? Okay, I got some. What's that? A retired electrician. Okay. Utilities. Okay, lineman. Got it. Are there any healthcare workers? Okay, we got a healthcare. Maybe some nurses and some doctors. What's that? And a business owner. We have retired people. We have sons. We have daughters. Right? Do you see what I'm trying to get at? And just tying Nehemiah 3 and saying that they're ordinary people just like you and me. They're just people, yet God recorded their names in Nehemiah chapter 3. They never get mentioned again, most of them. Probably 90% of them never get mentioned again. But isn't it interesting that God uses everyone? And he says this wall that's broken is what made Nehemiah very sad. And so we have a lot of broken walls today. I don't know if you look around today, and as I do, and the world feels a little upside down. People are a little anxious. There's a lot of loneliness in our world. There's a lot of people who are just troubled by our government, our institutions, a lot of things that we once used to trust, we don't trust a whole lot anymore. So there are walls and there are gates, like in Nehemiah 3, that are broken all around us, in our families, our neighborhoods, our communities, our workplace, our institutions. And what it's, I don't know about you, but it sometimes makes me want to shrink a little bit and become like, say to myself, well, this is really way beyond me, and it's overwhelming. Is there any light at the end of this tunnel that we are living in this world? And so what happens is I tend to want to sit back and I withdraw. And so I become more of a consumer in life. So I kind of say, well, we'll let somebody else fix that. And then we bring that into our churches a little bit too. We become consumers. And if you will, spectators of the things around us. But God never planned for us to be just spectators and consumers. And the greatest danger, I think, in the world is not that God is forgotten. I think that the greatest danger that we're facing right now is that we've forgotten whose we belong to. The people of God is beginning to drift away from who are you and what your identity is. Because once you figure out who you are, much like Sherry and Foster have publicly declared, I am a child of God. That changes everything. It doesn't matter how impossible and how difficult the odds are of what you face as a broken wall or a burned down gate. But God says, there are no little people in my kingdom. There is no little act that you do and I can do that is not meaningful. God says everything is meaningful. And as we looked in Nehemiah chapter 3, we saw that every believer, you and I, have a section of the wall. So, first of all, we have to remember who we are. And secondly, God says, you have a part. You and I have a part. And that part, much like Nehemiah 3, says that there are no spectators in God's kingdom, and everyone matters, if I could use that phrase, as we hear often.